Yo, Kipsters, just Mr. Dudley here. In this video, I'm going to go over your quizzes from Friday. So I'm going to go over your reading quiz. I'm going to go over your writing quiz with you. So follow along with me as I do that, please. You should always write your first and your last name. Make sure you capitalize. Make sure you check and make sure your email is correct up here. It's the email that we sent you for your logins for the computers and Google Classroom. Make sure you're selecting the correct teacher. And then we'll get down into, this is the reading quiz today. I'm going to start with reading. This is our text structures quiz. So it says the information in the paragraph below is connected by which text structure. I'm going to read, the text, and then we'll decide which text structure it is. Crocodiles and alligators. Those are two different things, right? So that's the first clue to my answer, that there's two different things, crocodiles and alligators. Crocodiles and alligators look very much alike, but there are ways to tell them apart. The crocodile has a pointy snout, while the alligator's snout is rounder. The crocodile weighs less than the alligator and can move faster. Both animals have an extra long lower tooth. When the crocodile's mouth is closed, you can see this long tooth. However, when the alligator's mouth is closed, the tooth is hidden inside the mouth. So is this showing us comparing and contrasting, problem and solution, chronology or sequence, or cause and effect? Well, I can go through and eliminate my answers, right? Compare and contrast is telling me when something is similar or different. Throughout, it tells me that they look a lot alike, but the crocodile has a pointy snout, the alligator has a round snout, the crocodile weighs less than the alligator. Those are comparing and contrasting two things so far. So that's a good answer so far. Problem and solution. I don't see any problem in that text right there. It doesn't tell me that there's a problem in the text, so I'm going to eliminate that answer. Bad answer. Chronology or sequence. Is it telling us that anything is happening in order? Let's go back. I don't think so. Nothing in that text is telling me something's happening in order. That's what chronology means, or sequencing. It's happening in order. Cause and effect means there's like something that happens that causes something else to happen. And in that text, there's nothing. All in the text is telling me about is crocodiles, and it's telling me about alligators. And it's telling me how crocodiles and alligators are the same, and how crocodiles and alligators are different. Therefore, our answer is compare and contrast for that one. Let's go to the next one. Clara Barton. Clara Barton was born in Oxford, Massachusetts. She taught school and worked at the United States Patent Office. The Patent Office is where people go when they invent new stuff. When the Civil War broke out, Clara worked as a nurse. She brought supplies to soldiers and worked on the battlefield. In fact, she was called the Angel of the Battlefield. In 1869, Clara went to Europe. There, she worked with the International Red Cross. Clara returned to the U.S. in 1873. In 1881, she set up the American National Red Cross. Clara Barton helped many people in her lifetime. Let's go through our answer choices just like last time. In the text, there's nothing that's being compared or contrasted. It's not telling us anything that's different about Clara or anything that's the same about her. So that's not a good answer. Problem and solution. There's no problem in the text except the Civil War breaking out. Even if you view that as a problem, you're right. But there's not a solution in the text. So if there's not a problem and a solution, then it's not your answer. Let's go to chronology or sequencing. In the text, it tells me where she was born. It tells me what she did in school. It tells me what happened after she was in school. It tells me what happened after she worked for in the Civil War. And it tells me what happened after she came back to America and went to Europe and all that. And that's telling me things happening in order. So I know that that's going to be chronology or sequence, but I want to check my last answer to make sure. Cause and effect, there's nothing in the text that causes something else to happen. Since that is not true, it's not cause and effect. It has to be chronology or sequence because it's telling me events in her life in the order of when they happened, and that is sequencing. Let's go to the next one. We have two more. At one transcontinental railroad. Transcontinental means it goes across the continent. At one time, Americans couldn't get from coast to coast by train. The train tracks did not go all the way across the United States. That's a problem, right, so far? This was a problem. It even tells us this is a problem. This was a problem because it took months to travel from one side of the country to the other. Suddenly, in the early 1860s, the railroad companies decided to begin building a transcontinental railroad. This railroad would allow Americans to cross the continent in less than a week. What a better way to travel. This one's pretty easy and straightforward. It tells me a problem here. This was a problem because it took months to travel from one side of the country to another. How did they fix that? Well, they built a transcontinental railroad. If they already talked about the problem. The solution was building the transcontinental railroad. Therefore, our answer is problem and solution. Last one. During the Revolutionary War and for a long time afterward, colonists used British, French, and Spanish money. Because the British government would not allow the colonists to make their own coins, they made paper money instead. By the mid-1700s, there was more paper money than there was gold or silver for which the bills could be traded. As a result is the key phrase in this text. As a result, the British government ordered the colonists to stop making paper money. If you remember from class, when we talk about as a result, that means that there's a cause and an effect. So if something happens as a result, that's almost always going to be a cause and effect relationship. Almost always. Then I'm going to submit my work for reading and see what I got on my quiz and if I got those right. I can view my score right here. And it tells me I got 100 out of 100. So we got all of our answers right. It's first compare and contrast, then chronology, then problem and solution, and then cause and effect. Excuse me, goodness me, I got the hiccups, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of that. I'm going to exit out of that, and I'm going to go to my writing quiz right here, and we'll go over the common errors quiz for writing as well. We got through reading, now it's time to do writing. Same thing as last time, your name goes first, your teacher, and then for this, we're just choosing the correct sentence. We only have 4 questions. Choose the correct sentence. She put on her jacket because it's cold outside. It's right here is wrong because it is cold outside. And if it is cold outside, I need an apostrophe there to make it it's. So IT apostrophe S. So that's not a good answer. He collected bugs because it's his favorite thing to do. It is his favorite thing, so we do need the apostrophe. This C answer is not good because there's not an apostrophe, so let's go to D. The pencil fell out of its container. Did the pencil fell out of it is container? No way, right? So the answer here should be B. He collected bugs because it is his favorite thing to do. If there's an apostrophe here, you got to make sure that you split it up and read it and make sure it sounds right. So if there's an apostrophe, it should say it is. And it works, so that's a good answer. Choose the correct sentence. Arturo's Legos spilled out of its bag. Did it spill out of it is bag? No way. The flower grew out of its vase. Did it grow out of it is vase? No. So that's a good answer so far. The flower grew out of its vase. Maria picked up the notebook because it's hers. What are we missing there? Well, we don't have an apostrophe because we need to know that it is hers. And then the soccer team won its game. Did the soccer team win it is game? No way, right? The flower grew out of its vase. Number 3. Your pants became so muddy after playing at recess. You are pants? No way. Don't forget to write your name on each form. Do not forget. That sounds good so far. Always do your best on each assignment. Always do you are best? No way. Remember to always take UR jackets home with you on Fridays? No way. Remember, if there's an apostrophe, you gotta make it 2 words, because that's a contraction. So your is actually UR, and UR jackets doesn't make any sense. The only one that makes sense is do not forget to write your name. Last question. Choose the correct sentence. If you practice hard, you are going to do well. Sounds good. Since you're home during the day, make sure to get outside and play more. This one's very tricky. Since you're home, it should say since you are home, right? So it should look like this, instead of this, your. So that's not a good answer. Don't forget to help out your parents at home. No way. If you forget to write your name, you may not get credit for UR tests. Still doesn't sound right. The only one that sounds right is if you practice hard, you are going to do well. That's a good answer. That's correct, grammatically correct. Let's see if I'm right for those, and it looks like I am. So we got the first one, second one, third one, and fourth one right that way. Remember, if there's an apostrophe in the word, check and make sure that that's the correct contraction, because sometimes it's really tricky, and if you don't split it up and read it, it won't sound right. You guys did a great job this week. I want you to make sure you watch this video before your Tuesday reading lesson. I hope you have a great weekend and a great rest of your week. I miss you guys. I love you. Have a good one. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.